Hey everyone. So today I wanted to talk about love and I wanted to talk about loving yourself and finding within yourself that supply of everything that you need to keep going within your daily life without having somebody else to validate you, reciprocate you, be there for you. And while this can be extremely tedious and it's so easy to kind of hermit and just kind of lock yourself away and just shut yourself off from society. Um, it's that's not, okay, so basically here's the thing. I I was under the impression for a very long time in my life that the people around me were so caught up in physicalities and so caught up in working and doing everything perfectly every day. So I kind of held myself back within my mind, and not even held myself back, but I really trapped myself away, and I resided there because I was under the impression that the people that were throwing themselves at their jobs were so miserable, and obviously most people are, and sometimes those same people would project that anger and that resentment onto me. So I was under the impression that if I actually was in my body, then I would be kind of an asshole. And because I've been there, I used to make a lot of mistakes and I wasn't perfect to people and I wasn't always kind to people, but I learned that because I really stepped back and looked at the way that people were treating me first and foremost. And I realized that it's not right. The way that we treat each other, because realistically the only thing that is real is the love that we can establish for each other and the love that we can have within ourselves, because when it comes down to it, I mean, we're here for fun. We don't we're hanging out and we're having fun here, and then along the way a majority of people got caught up in having fun and thinking that they didn't deserve it. So then they did start throwing themselves at their jobs and they did start working 6-7 days a week. And my ex, I don't like to talk about people in my past, but my ex and I were polar antonyms and I didn't want to work at all. That didn't sound very English, but I didn't want to work at all, okay? And this is with a majority of my relationships. I just didn't want to work. I wanted to chill and I wanted to take care of the house. And I mean, that's kind of in my nature. But they would work every single day, and they would come home and they would have no time to establish who they were as a person because they were just so exhausted. And they wouldn't want to go out and they wouldn't want to do anything. And I always wanted to go out and do things, but I've always wanted to do it with other people. But I also didn't want to establish a career for myself because I just didn't feel like it was something that would bring me joy. But I'm at that point now where my job doesn't, I want to talk about my job right now. But okay, let's use prior jobs as an example. So a majority of my prior jobs, I just wasn't happy, and I felt kind of like a number. And I think that's just how corporate America is, just that way. And you can either go with that flow of feeling like a number every day and feeling like you have to earn the right to be treated like a human, which is not right, mind you. And I'm realizing that it's okay to establish your own life, and it's okay to establish something that makes you happy, because I mean, most people think that you have to like really really sell your soul to get money, and you really in turn then earn the right to play, and then earn the right to relax, then earn the right to experience joy. So with corporate America being incorporated into this conversation, I I think that it encourages poverty. It encourages low self-esteem. It encourages the mindset of forcing ourselves to work 6, 7 days a week so that then we can have this tiny little glimmer of the possibility that one day, if we continue to work that hard, then maybe we'll get to experience a sliver of joy. And that's so wrong. And I've been really analyzing this predicament, and and I've seen it on just about everybody I've ever known in my whole life. So I feel like I really lost a lot of people. And I can tell you, the top is lonely. The top is very lonely. But it's worth it. It's so yeah, you gotta be there. You gotta be there. Because if you aren't there, then you don't know. But financially, here's the thing. I'm not stable. But mentally, I have absolutely everything that I need to incorporate that into my physical life. So I really wanted to establish my mental before I just built something, before I just built anything. So I kind of put myself in this situation where I was putting all of my energy into knowing self, into loving self, into being self, in order to experience a better physical environment. Because I'm sure a variety of us have been in the situation where physically we just are not happy, and physically we just don't have what we need. So sometimes that kind of leaves us to only having that mentality. And if you have an inconvenient or negative mentality, it's only going to make your life harder. And while that's true, it's so much healthier to establish a little bit of both, because we're not supposed to be exactly where we're supposed to be right now at the end of our life, but we are currently where we're supposed to be to contribute to that destination. So when you start that journey of self and you start to find who you are, you might absolutely fall in love with it, and you might absolutely have a hard time getting away from yourself, in a sense. Like, I just can't keep my hands off myself. So it kind of like makes me not even want to be around other people anymore, because, and I'm not an introvert, but I just don't have this urge to necessarily be around anybody aside from myself. And when I'm in my physical body, like when I'm actually feeling my body, it makes me realize that, like, that's not healthy. Because I absolutely love myself, absolutely have fallen in love with myself, and I love being around myself. But I mean, this is like when you're with anybody, you can't be around this person 24/7. You just cannot do it. So even if you're in your body and say you're the last person on earth, like, you still have to be in your body sometimes, and you still have to realize that you are you. And sometimes you basically just have to be an individual. And I have been latched onto myself for so long because I haven't had anybody for so long. And I'm happy about it. I'm happy about it because, I mean, they didn't necessarily know any better than I did. And I feel like they were more trapped. A majority of people I've been around have been more trapped in their physical body as opposed to entering their mental at any point. So I was just kind of in my mental this whole time. And really making it comfy up there, really really trying my best to, like, put some curtains up and maybe, like, knit a sweater to hang in the closet. Anyway. So yeah, when you kind of reside in your mental and you don't live in your physical body, it's so easy to push people away. And maybe you don't even push people away. Maybe you just don't want to be around anybody in general. So yeah, a majority of people in my life have been in their physical bodies. So it kind of, like, established this line between us and automatically giving us a disadvantage when it comes to building a relationship between both of us. So people essentially think I'm insane, and I'm alright with that. Because I was kind of getting to the point where it's like, okay, well, we're not really our physical bodies, we are soul, and I'm self-aware, and I'm also aware of the fact that my physical environment isn't real, so who gonna meet me up here? Is how I was kind of feeling. But I wasn't really meeting anybody anywhere else. Like, I didn't want to, because I didn't want to come back down. Like, I didn't want to get to the point where I could, like, feel joy. And I didn't really want to get to the point where I got lost in that body, like, because it's so easy to take it so seriously. So you know, all these people around me feeling that joy and feeling like, you know, being in their body and you know, just wanting to feel good all the time. I didn't want that because it makes me feel superficial. And that's basically why I've been avoiding the physical body and being in it, because I correlated it to superficiality due to the fact that a variety of people around me did that so long ago, and they just live their life like that, and they don't take the first step into, like, learning themselves, and they don't take the first step into experiencing who they are. So it really made me step back. I mean, what other choice do you have? Like, you can either be that way or you can be your own way. So now that I've been my own way for like 7 years of my life, I mean, there's nothing here. Like, there is nothing here, and it's nice at the top because I didn't totally, like, give myself away to these people that, like, didn't see themselves, and vice versa. And, it also helped me realize that the people around you will treat you horribly sometimes. And that will make you take 10 more steps back. So, when I really started looking at the way that I got treated for being myself, basically, it made me want to just stay here. It made me want to keep being myself, and it made me want to put extra locks on the labyrinth that was my mind. So then I'm locked in, and I'm trying to figure out, like, why I feel stuck. And the hardest part is to admit that sometimes the people that you love just don't change. And that can include yourself as well. And, like, I was at the point where I wasn't changing because I didn't want to outgrow the people around me. And, you know, so just putting myself in a situation where I'm outgrown, like, I've already outgrown mentally, and I feel like I'm just taking up space, basically. And I know that there is somewhere that I belong in this world that will give me the exact space that I need. And I'm aware of that. And I really enjoy the thought of being able to just be myself with no consequence. Because that's what really helped me get here, is really embracing who I was. And if I wouldn't have done that, I don't think that I would be okay at all. I really don't think that I would be the version of myself that I am. And I really handle things well. And I handle, you know, chaos good. And I mean, I've just, like, really impressed myself so many times because of the fact that I have built a firm base, and I've built a firm frame for the home that I'm going to incorporate with that base, that figuratively is everything I am. And if you know what I'm saying, then that's great. And if you don't, maybe you will get to that point. And I do hope that you do get to that point. Because the water is fine. The water is great here. And it gets very lonely. It gets very painful. It gets very catastrophe correlated. But if you just hold yourself and you're aware that, like, you got yourself before anybody got you, then you'll do great. And you really have to establish that base before you can go any further. So if you first get into your, say, like, you've never been in your mind before, and say you just, like, one day you up and you decide to explore yourself, and then you go in and you're looking around and you're like, whoa, this place is really messy and there's a lot going on in here. First and foremost, it's gonna be very cluttered. So if you're sitting with yourself and you're holding yourself and you're telling yourself, okay, this clutter is not who I am as a person. It's just here because I haven't been maintaining it. That doesn't make you a bad person. It just makes you human. It makes you, like, perfectly imperfect is exactly what humans are. And if it's any consolation, I don't think this is our full form. So that's all I'm gonna say. But if you can really have fun within yourself, then you'll go a very long way. And sometimes you just gotta dance in the pig pen. Like you really just gotta party in the pig pen, because it's not going to be clean all the time, it's not going to be perfect all the time, but as long as you can assure yourself that it is not who you are to, occasionally have a messy place, then that's great. So anyway, I was going to talk about love, and that is where that message went. So if you're struggling with self-love right now, then just keep holding yourself, because I can tell you that it's going to get very chaotic, and I can tell you that it's going to get very scary and very difficult and very outside of your comfort zone. But if you're with yourself through that, and you're essentially standing next to yourself down that path, that's all you can do, right? Like, your external environment is not going to reflect who you are all the time, because sometimes your physical environment needs time to catch up to your mentality. You really have to establish what kind of life you want to live within yourself before you can experience that on the outside of yourself. And I've really seen that, like, being this, and I know it's an uncomfortable conversation. So, like, if you haven't started the journey, like, it's great when you get further, but being this way has really scared people. And it really showed me, like, who is really willing to not only experience who I am, but embrace me in general. And, like, I have felt like nothing. I felt useless for a really long time, because, like, I was just scaring everybody away. And, like, it's a good thing, because it really is. If you are having a hard time and somebody makes you feel really bad about it, then they ain't it. And you probably gotta move on. And maybe sometimes you feel like you might have treated somebody bad, but you probably were just meant to be around this person for a little bit, and then, like, you really weren't meant to be with this person forever. Like, you guys were meant to teach each other something. So I think that you can either learn from those lessons, or you can keep being that same person that you feel like made those mistakes. So basically what I'm saying, like, don't hate yourself, don't guilt trip yourself, don't make yourself feel like you're gonna be horrible regardless of where you come from, regardless of where you go. You really have to love yourself. And when I tell people that, sometimes they get defensive and they tell me that they do love themselves. So then I already know that they're lying. Then I already know that somebody's, like, playing. And I don't appreciate that tone. And sometimes, like, I don't know why that came out, but maybe somebody just needs to find out how to stand up for themselves. So, because when I first started standing up for myself, like, it drove people crazy, and I felt really good about it. And lately I've been sticking up for myself more and more, and, like, I've never been so distanced from people. I've never really had to be so alone. Because when I was a kid, like, I automatically thought like my parents were perfect and my friends were perfect and everything in my life was exactly how it was supposed to be. And while the last part is true, the first two are not. And when you finally start to see that and you finally start to stand up for what you actually believe in and what your morals are, then you start to see that people typically don't have those same morals and they typically don't have the same plans and the same idea of what, or maybe no idea at all of what they want to fight for. So when you start fighting for yourself, people will sometimes mistake that for fighting them, and it couldn't be any more untrue because I found that people will fight me when they're having a bad day and when they don't know what to do and when they can't pay their rent. Like I have been fought so many times for no reason. And I mean, you gotta be disappointed sometimes. You really gotta be unimpressed sometimes. And you really gotta step back from that as well and look around and realize people are not treating you the way that you're treating them sometimes. And especially if you've grown from high school, especially if you've grown from any version of, you know, what people had projected onto you, you realize that sometimes you're just actually treated horribly. And you're treated horribly because people are jealous that you have any sense of self. And when I really, okay, say I'm in a room, right? And there's like 5 people telling me that everything I feel is wrong, and and everything I think is wrong, and you know I don't know anything because I'm young, and I'm like, well, that's not true, and like I don't know, you must be having a hard time at home or something. And standing with myself, for myself, and by myself has really put me in a lot of rooms in general. Really opened up a lot of doors for me and really like sent me down different paths than it would have otherwise if I didn't know how to stick up for myself to this day. And so what I'm saying is, you know, finding yourself can be really hard and really tedious, as I have said, though once you actually start seeing yourself, there's really nothing like it. I mean, there's just absolutely nothing that can be, and that's kind of why, like, I don't get in my body enough, because there's just nothing like being myself, and I can be myself without my body. But I you know, you gotta think, like, if you get that way too, like, you gotta think, like, we're here to experience our bodies. Like, that's really, like, we can be ourselves all we want. But if we're not in our body doing it, then there's really not gonna, it's not gonna spark, like, it's not gonna click. And whenever you go somewhere and it doesn't feel right and all you think about is when you're gonna be sad again, then, like, there's not much a point in even being human. And I'm not saying, like, there's no point in you. I'm not saying there's no point in, you know, continuing on with life. If you're having a hard time, embrace it. If you're having a hard time, feel that. Because if you keep pushing it away and you keep telling yourself, well, these feelings are horrible and I don't want to think of myself as horrible, so I don't really want these feelings, then Sometimes you gotta step back from yourself. And sometimes you really gotta look at, you know, life. You gotta feel life. Sometimes, like, say you're having a really hard day, right? And you come home and you feel awful. And you're sitting with that. You're like, wow, I feel this way all the time. Then what can you do to kind of get away from that for a little bit? And while it's important to feel your feelings, it's also important to kind of dance with them as well. It's important to go to the beach with them as well. It's important to befriend them. I mean, because you really gotta befriend every part of you. And if you don't, there's always gonna be that little, like, voice that's like, dude, you suck, you're this, you're that. Like, and it's not, I mean, it's not true. Because we're all exactly what we're supposed to be. And, when you kind of, like, you stop trying to prove to that voice that it's wrong, and you start just living without expectation of combating that voice, you're already where you gotta be. So I'm gonna cut it there, and I just want everybody to know that you're doing a great job once again. And it's really tough out here. It's gonna be cutthroat, it's gonna be difficult, but as long as you got you through it, and you kind of try to feel life sometimes, and you try to feel like the frequencies and the environment that you're in. And maybe it's not great, maybe the frequencies and the environment is not great, but if you can feel that and you can dance with that, keep doing your thing.